What's good? What's good, everybody? Queen Common Sense back to you with another one. Shy Breezy remix to the dusty cackalack sticks over here. It's about to rain, so I won't be before you long, but you know I had to come back with this one. Boy, oh boy. Oh, the tangled web we weave when we practice to deceive, hunty. Animated insanity, y'all. I keep trying to tell you, y'all not trying to feel me though. We predicted this. Every time you nurse a snake, it will shed its skin, become a bigger snake, and that snake you're not immune to a snake bite just because you nurse and help a snake. Okay? You just feeding the narcissistic supply. Snakes are cold-blooded for a reason. And I hope everybody's doing well out here, family. Drop them eagle feathers in the comment section if you feel me. We getting ready to get it in on Sloppy Stormy. Hood Rich Ghetto CEO done broke off her ankle and knee deep in some up shit creek. Okay? There's no other way to put it. I don't know if y'all checked it out yet, but Queen Sheba once again lit it up over there in the palace. Okay? And I really pray that she feels a tiny bit of spiritual retribution behind what we see here breaking in these here YouTube streets, baby. You know, and it's more to come. It's more to come because, like we always say, practice the pause. You know, we need to really hone in on falling back in the cut, even though we got a little bit of narcissistic injury. You know, that narcissistic, them fangs caught us. You know, caused a little bit of a laceration. And we feeling a little kind of way about it. We in our feelings about being disrespected, misused, and abused, of course. But sometimes a response is better than a reaction. And when you fall back and let it do what it do, karma will come back around faster than you can blink your beautiful, lovely eyelashes. Like a boomerang over there in Australia in the bush, baby. It'll come right back around and bingo. Okay, now we know what happened already. We talked about Stormy Steele's temper and her lack of business acumen. And we're also talking about the rage, the patterns. We're looking at the patterns. Now, Queen Sheba done broke it down in the corporate fashion like nobody else can, okay? We're getting ready to break it down over here in the Royal TP in the spiritual fashion and dissect this demon of narcissistic rage beholden by Sloppy Stormy. Hood boogery at its finest, baby. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to hop over here to a portion. We're gonna walk it back a little bit. We're gonna do a little bit of a remix to remix, repeat, rewind over here on Instagram. Okay, we're gonna check out this here we gonna check out this here clip again. Okay. This little old teaser here that you know that they just dropped this bucket of manure, okay, that they dropped on us. It's allegedly what we got to look forward to this here next coming up season. You know, when narcissists see someone doing well, they feel jealousy and anger. The narcissist in this situation thinks they deserve everything people have accomplished because they are superior to everyone, baby. If they are not as successful as people in many areas and in the animosity keeps rising, this creates some unpleasant rivalry, baby. Okay? Okay. Yes, ma'am and sir. Now, we saw it. We're just going to pop back over here real quick and just get a little refresher, shall we? Let's do that. Boom. I really do hope everybody's doing well today. And we're going to pick up right here where we quite there, where somebody tried to flex at the dinner table on our Dr. Melody Cherie Rogers tried to flex again. This the second or third time Ghetto CEO then tried to flex and come from Melody about something that ain't got nothing to do with the price of tea in China or beans in Mexico. Okay, peep this, y'all. We already know what's up. Check out the flex. Watch the hood boogery, y'all.
To keep trying to defend and go back and forth with people all day on the internet. That's problematic for me. One of her proclaimed fans came to my warehouse with her camera out and her friend while I'm cussing and crying, and she takes that to...
I'm so sick of Kim. Cap and Kimmy. She's so histrionic and phony. It just makes me want to vomit. I'm keeping it real, but let's get back over here on this falsetto of a flex Stormy called herself doing. Here come the ghetto. See the ghetto jumping out, y'all?
To get a warrant for my arrest for, guess what? Harassing communications.
But that's not her fault.
I'm saying state where you stand. Do you agree with that? I don't have to say say less.
They all come back and download their feelings, but she's not taking accountability. Everybody know how I genuinely feel about you.
I thought I did.
And see, back in the day, what Nell is doing, we called it getting a grip back in the 80s. Y'all millennials, some of the millennials and the Gen Xers, y'all know what that means. You trying to get a grip. You caught yourself talking out of both sides of your neck. You didn't think it would circle back around, spin the block, and fall on my ears. You didn't think I would catch wind of this bullshit you said about me in this here interview. Now you're trying to get a grip. Okay? Now you're trying to backpedal. All right? Let it go.
I did too till I heard that interview. You should. Unfortunately, stubborn.
Some of these people not your friends.
I'm not the one. I'm not the one.
Tisha.
But if I gave her that interview.
Marcel.
Okay? Dr. Shanita ain't playing. All right? Mel is G'd up. Okay? Ain't nobody playing no more with this nonsense and hood boogery that y'all call entrepreneurs. She scraped up out the gutter trying to assist them to a better lifestyle. And they wanted to look a gift horse in the mouth, as my grandmother used to always say. You have a horse, in the native community, in the tribal Native American community, a horse is a very valuable commodity, a very valuable asset. Not only is it used for transportation and work, that normal human strength cannot withstand, it is very valuable when it comes to survival. That horse will bring your ass home to safety. That horse knows the way when you get lost. That's why it's very important to stay in tune and keep all of your chakras in line and spend as much time in nature as you can studying animal totems. We're going to get to that a little bit later down the line. That's alchemy advanced class. Now, here we are with Mrs. Hoodbooger flexing on Melody, trying to force her to condone what happened at her former warehouse with Miss BT, which we all know is the most insane, cockamamie, trumped up, contrived nonsense that anybody could ever confabulate to try to somehow create a requirement for Melody to take a stance on something that she had nothing to do with. See how quickly people give their power away? You know, they just expect you as the empath to have all the answers. You're the holy grail to all of their problems. It, it's all about how people see you through their lens, which is none of your business. What people think of me is none of my business. Now, Stormy, that's a Stormy issue. Everybody in their right mind knows this, except those who are delusional narcissists. And just like Stormy can overvalue herself in certain situations, like when she came after Destiny and threw a chair, raging, right? Because Destiny checked her and was like, "You coming on a little, you coming on a little bit too heavy, sis. Back up." Okay. And when she japped off at Destiny, I'm sorry, when she japped off at Stormy, what happened? Rage. Huh? When Miss BT showed up at the warehouse after doing her investigative reporting that she's so good at, revealed some things that Stormy didn't like. Rage. What are you doing here? You know, you hating on me and posting all these hateful videos. Well, Stormy, this time this wasn't a millimeter that came down on your neck, was it? Kyle. Kyle done wow. Kyle done got tired of you, Stormy. Okay? Kyle sick of your bullshit and you done flexed on the wrong one. See, cause Mel Mel took it easy on you. All right. Mel too busy counting her bags and doing honorable shit to stop, like she said, and go back and forth with people on the internet all god doggone day. Okay? So for those of you who haven't peeped it, we're gonna peep it real quick. And I'm gonna gloss through some of this because I got some pieces I want to share with you that's gonna tie this all up in a little bow to help explain why. We're gonna break it down and dissect this and unpack all this shit, figure out why. We're gonna put our finger right on the bullseye of why Stormy acts like this. Okay. So, statement from Kyle Ivanko. Hey everyone, hope all is well. I wanted to take a few moments to share something that has been on my mind. I'm heartbroken to share the news that I am no longer working with Stormy Steele as Canvas's Chief Operations Officer. Stormy sent me a termination notice on Friday, July 26th, 4 days ago, stating that I was terminated as of Monday, July 22nd. Let me explain, or skip ahead to slide 6 for the summary of where things stand. Over the last 18 months, that's almost 2 years. Okay, remember the growing pains 2 years ago? That was 2 years ago, growing pains, growing pains, growing pains. Over the last 18 months, I've been working with Stormy Steele, founder and CEO of Canvas Beauty, on rebuilding the legacy of the company. Y'all, hold on to your feathers. When we started working together, we began marketing Body Glaze to the world, marking the start of a roller coaster ride of business with many ups and downs. The challenge was extremely difficult. I guess it would be. Okay, working with a hood booger. Turn around a business in debt that was losing money monthly and that had hundreds of unfulfilled orders from 2+ months back. Okay, now if we count 18 months. That's a year and a half ago. We only in July now. So July will be last year, 2023, 12 plus 6. We back in 2022. Okay, let's go. When I was first onboarded to work on advertising, we get customers complaining in the ads comments pretty much immediately. I quickly saw that more than marketing help was needed for a full recovery. Keep that in mind, a full recovery. I rolled up my sleeves, personally sent hundreds, if not thousands, of emails to customers apologizing for the mistakes of the past, predating my time, and helping to right every wrong with limited budget and limited resources. So, this is what I call hustling backwards. This is what I call hood boogery at its finest. When you start a business, you're not familiar with corporate industry, retail, sales, marketing, communication, advertisement, paying bills for people who help you grow your business and scale up. It's called hood boogery. Ghetto CEO. But there was a part of the challenge that I loved. I loved helping customers get what they deserved. Okay, this is the great white hope now. Okay. I loved having a part in making things right. I spent hours laying on my couch at night writing customized apology emails. Huh? And even though I had been happy working on my own marketing business, I co-founded Cracker JCK. I felt the call of the wild to dive in headfirst into what would become the most challenging and rewarding project of my life. Okay. Toward the end of April 2023, Stormy and I agreed for me to come on board as a true partner. Keep that in mind too. Joining her as her right hand with an agreement to split equity and profits. Stormy's in deep, deep, deep caca. We both saw the potential in one another, and after seeing some initial transaction, saw we were in a dream team that was so powerful combined. Huh? Even though I quickly helped the business as a whole turn profitable within just a few months, the lifestyle creep of the CEO would deplete the accounts. There we go. There go that hustling backwards. I made the money so I can spend it. No, you got to pay the people, places, and things that help you get to the point you are now. Hood booger. And just about every month that followed was a gut punch after gut punch. New lawsuits from the past would pop up, debtors would circle back, and even got to a point where our web store was shut down from unpaid bills. All right. Holding out hope and seeing the vision for this is what I mean by animated insanity. Huh? Because we saw after this alleged $1 million in TikTok sales, boats. Now we want to move to LA. We want to do IVF and have another child and add on to the family. We want to go on these luxurious weekends, traveling over to TikTok studio and flying people into the TikTok studio to do the live. Okay. Holding out hope and seeing the vision for success so clearly in my head, I forewent my monthly retainer and lent Stormy and the business somewhere between 30 and 40,000. 30 and 40, 30 and 40 bands. Okay. I refuse to give up after so much effort. This is why I have a huge problem with the character of the ghetto CEO, because you just don't, you have zero accountability, and you feel so entitled to use people and consume their time and hard work and effort and expect to pay them Zippo. That drives me up the wall. It's an oxymoron, because this whole country and the industry that makes it great was based on and founded on free labor, Stormy. And Black women really suffered because we were forced into servitude. I'm going to stop there. And after more ups and more downs around animated insanity, around September of 2023, we finally struck big. We landed on expanding into TikTok Shop, and after some initial roadblocks, we quickly became the top-selling beauty product on the platform. As the holiday season rolled around, we really moved mountains to keep up with the demand. Our $10,000 sales days turned into $100,000 sales days. We were on cloud nine, and I felt every day that it was a dream I could wake up from at any time. You heard that? So Kyle even had his intuition was like, is this real? Or is this hood booger going to snatch the rug out from underneath our progress again and go buy another frivolous ghetto purchase and make another foolish decision financially? Let's go. Even though I was doing the job of 5 people, the kid inside of me was beaming with pride of becoming an executive at a beauty company, and arguably the fastest growing one in the world. The holiday season was good to us, and we ended the year with a $475,000 sale day. We were beyond over the moon. As the months of 2024 progressed, the stakes became higher and higher, and the workload, of course, too. There's that word, work. Having held on to much of the work I accumulated when funds were tight, I was doing the work of customer service, graphic and label design, marketing, inventory and supply chain management, human resources, payroll, finance, product development, business development, and vendor relations, including with our favorite partner, TikTok. So tell me, Stormy, I'm just curious. If you doing all of this and you gotta rub it in people's face, TikTok this, TikTok that, that tells me I can tell how people talk who have a taste of success or a taste of a different lifestyle based on their income growth or elevating their income. They're not used to that level of responsibility. To whom much is given, much is required. Okay. But through all the hard work, we ended March with nearly 5 million in sales, quite literally about 25 times from a year prior. Okay. Now this man done scaled up her business to where she nearly made 5 M's in sales. We were on top of the world. TikTok lives became more high stakes too. We broke records with TikTok first becoming the first brand to sell 400,000 plus in a single live stream. And then in June, becoming the first brand and Stormy the first creator to sell over 1 million in a single live. We did another live earlier this month in July of 2024, selling over 1.1 million worth of canvas products in a single day. In just under a year on TikTok, we sold over 20 million worth of product. The numbers and the story were simply unbelievable. Yeah, it gets better, y'all. I followed Stormy and the team back to Alabama after their most recent live to help pack and fulfill orders. Filling 1 million worth of product from a single day is no joke, let alone all the other accumulated orders that came rolling in after. During this trip, Stormy and I had some business disagreements, but nothing out of the ordinary and certainly nothing extreme, especially for two executives of the fastest growing beauty company. We hugged it out after every disagreement and continued. Why are we disagreeing with somebody that we hired to do this job? That's all I want to know. Let's go. Let's keep going. Hugged it out after every disagreement and continually reference our yin and yang mantra, a reminder that we're different but perfect complements for one another. I left to go home to California on Tuesday, July 16th. After a few days working back home, the relationship was business as usual until Thursday, July 18th. Stormy had talked to me about wanting to get a business valuation, a 409A. I agreed, of course, wanting to know how much value we created in the last year. I reminded Stormy about the importance of keeping books clean and was immediately met with what? Rage. Why, Stormy? Just like when Miss BT was immediately met with rage, huh? After correcting you as an elder, but still willing to support you with 2 or 3 bands worth of orders she wanted to drop off on you. Rage. Okay. When that customer tapped in your DMs and asked you when the orders were going to ship, what was she met with, Stormy? Rage. Okay. Like the switch flipped. What happened with Patty Betty on the reunion stage when Melody stepped out, sat down? What was Melody met with? Rage. Like a switch flip. You see the pattern now, y'all? Rage that I had been reminding her to do certain things she said she would. Rage, I hadn't hired a CFO. Rage that I was pushing back on some personnel hiring decisions Stormy was suggesting. She immediately asked for a full list of everything I do and in the same breath accused me of intentionally doing so much to try to make myself irreplaceable and in an effort to hurt the business. Do you see how ignorant, not ignorant, ignorant. Now, Stormy, while you over there trying to slick this Mel, trying to flex on Mel, trying to throw everything off on the millimeters, trying to hurt your business, now hopefully the mirror has been shined off. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the most hood boogerish of them all? It's you, Stormy. It's you. Okay? Ain't nobody trying to hurt your business but you, darling. I was dumbfounded at the accusations, just like who was dumbfounded at the accusations from your mama, Mel, okay? Obliged to providing the list of duties, of course, because I always would follow the direction of my CEO and business partner. I also included every one of my contacts, vendors, and everyone that would be helpful should I, God forbid, be hit by a bus. Decently and in order, okay? Kyle had his ducks in a row because he does this. He do this, okay? The next day, on Friday, July 19th, I called Stormy asking to get clarity about my roles and responsibilities going forward. As she had the prior day said, she was stripping me of some of my usual duties like payroll that I had been managing for about a year and was already in the process of handing off to a colleague. During this phone call, I mentioned that I sent a full list of everything I do and my contacts should she need to replace me. She panicked and kept insisting that I was quitting and resigning. That's what good partners do, proactive. Just in case life does some life and in the business world, here are the fallback, the emergency, who know how to pick up where I left off. Just in case. God forbid I get struck by lightning. God forbid I get sick. You see how ignorant she is? Okay, let's go. I denied this several times, saying over and over I wasn't quitting and I was not resigning, but Stormy replied with many hurtful things. And didn't she reply with many hurtful things? Miss BT couldn't get a word in edgewise, couldn't even explain why she was at the warehouse. Met with many hurtful things like threats to her life, bringing harm to her with a pew pew. Okay? Y'all see the pattern. You see where I'm going with this. Including that out of all the people she had ever worked with, including those that stole from her, that I was the worst of them all. This stung. She told me we're done over and over and to talk to my lawyer. We said goodbye and hung up. Okay. She called me back about an hour later. I asked to record the conversation, and the conclusion of the call was that we would cool off, enjoy the weekend to come, and talk again on Sunday. She kept insisting I tell her what my handoff plan would be, but I was explaining my head was still spinning at the idea of leaving the company I had dedicated my life to over the past year and a half. See how easy it is for a narcissist to use you and discard you. Okay. This is why you have 2 ears and 1 mouth to listen more than you run it. And then maybe if you were taking notes on how Melody is moving in her 7th Avenue beauty legacy, maybe you would have picked up some good pointers. Okay. But Melody went to school for this. She built for this. Okay. You didn't. Okay. What did you go to school for? Stormy. That's what I thought. We ended the call on good terms and wished each other a happy weekend. Not even a few hours after the call, Stormy had started to inform our vendors, namely TikTok, that she would need to be included in on conversations going forward. The next day, on Saturday morning, I woke up to having been locked out of my work email and thus nearly everything I've worked on for the past year and a half, 18 months, including my personal financial expense spreadsheet, locked out. Ghetto. Ignorant. On Sunday, when Stormy reached out about the time to talk on the phone, I told her my head was still spinning and that locking me out of my email and contacting TikTok on Friday evening right after our conversation about cooling off really violated my trust. You can't ever trust a gutter rat, okay? A hood booger. But Kyle was all windmilling for Canvas View Beauty just last year, telling Black folks about how we Black folks shouldn't be tearing other Black folk down. You see where I'm going with this? Displaced loyalty. Sensing tensions were still high, I said I would be taking an leave of absence starting on Monday, July 22nd. Having never taken a true day off in the last 18 months since we started working together. I reaffirmed my belief in her and my wish for success of the company, regardless if she chose to have me back. She said she'd reach out later in the week. On Tuesday, July 23rd, her lawyer reached out to me asking for a phone call to discuss Stormy and I parting ways, which was news to me. After After explaining the situation of the last few days, how that officially parting ways was news to me, and how I didn't feel comfortable talking to her legal team without representation of my own, I didn't hear anything from them until Friday, July 26th. Look at this mess, yo. Stormy, you done barked up the wrong tree, baby girl. When Friday rolled around, at the end of the day, around 5 p.m. my time, Pacific time, I received an email from Stormy indicating that I had been terminated as of Monday, July 22nd. You see how grimy she is? We already know she's a liar. Okay? We already know that she has deep, deep anger issues, deep mommy issues, narcissistic injury beyond the moon. Okay? And on top of everything that she is going through with her business, she has been running from arrest warrants because of what she did with Miss BT. Okay? So she's taken everything out on the people closest to her. I feel so bad for Mr. Courtney, her husband. He that's probably why he stays scarce these here days. Okay. I received an email from Stormy indicating that I had been terminated. Okay, we got that. Okay. Stormy included a separation agreement that meant I'd sign away any claims I have for my share of unpaid profits, 7 figures, any claims I have for ownership, equity, and my ability to speak openly about my experience working with Stormy and Canvas. Additionally, there was a portion of that agreement saying that I could not work in the beauty products industry for 24 months, among many other things that could limit my career, all in exchange for 1 month's pay. Okay, and if you need a visual of that, please go give Queen Sheba a view. Give her some watch time on today's live. She broke it all the way down in the corporate segment. You'll see the numbers. If just rough calculations of what that looks like and how grimy this motherfucker is and what she's trying to do. She's trying to do a big, huge money grab and bounce to La La Land in Cali, thinking that she can just tie this all up in a nice, neat little bow, file bankruptcy, get all these millions and millions and millions of dollars discharged without looking at the inside of a courtroom or jail cell. But again, I say, she who laughs last laughs best. While you over here flexing on somebody who has not done anything to you, bullies get bullied. Okay. Yeah. Of course, I didn't sign. At this point in time, I'm heartbroken to have been ousted by the person I have just short of dedicated my life to over this past year and a half. After all the sleepless nights, all the collaboration, all of the work, effort, and strategy that has gone into creating one of the most successful beauty brands of all time, to be pushed out over something so minute shortly after discussing that the company could possibly be worth 9 figures. Check this, peep this. This is the kicker. It's so bizarre to me. Someone who I could have arguably called my best friend. Someone who I would have arguably called my best friend, okay? Someone who openly shared every detail of her life with me. You know, Stormy's an oversharer. She's a motor mouth. She's not that bright. Don't take much to be a hustler. When you come from the ghetto, it's hard to shake the ghetto unless you polish it up and use that as a tool to motivate you to become better and grow. Someone who called me an uncle to her son, someone who asked me for my advice on my family matters, and who I talked to several times a day, just about every single day over the last 18 months, to push me out over something so minor, like showing up at your warehouse. All you had to do was say, no, thank you. Or just not even come outside. Just lock the door. Turn the lights off. Shut the fuck up. See what I'm saying? I am sad to share that I have retained legal counsel. And while I hope for an amicable resolution, you're not going to get it, baby. You're going to have to flex just like she doing. I will utilize every legal avenue available to me. All that I'm asking for is what was promised to me because I strongly feel, as she put it in her own words, the night of Valentine's Day Gala, that I really did turn everything around. Thanks for reading. Sincerely, Kyle Ivanko. Okay? Okay? And he put up some examples. So, you know, giving a shout out to Kyle, almost lost her company. Boom, boom, boom. Pow. Okay? Now, I got something lovely for you to take a peek at. We're just gonna do a little peekaboo. This is a lovely channel. It's called Grown Woman TV. Go over there and please give her a subscribe, a like, a click. Why do so many Black mothers hate their daughters? Okay, this is why I say petty, messy Betty cannot stand her daughter. She does not feel that she owes an apology, especially now. If you can't apologize to your own children, whether they're minors or adults, then in my opinion, in the world of parenting, you have some serious issues because you don't value your child as a human. They are your property. And then you may be looking in your mirror to see how you wasted your potential and your talents and gifts on perhaps chasing a zipper, competing with other women, and being an overall pain in the neck. You were not emotionally available for your daughter. And here's why. Petty Betty, let's peep. Check it out. She's going to explain. This is Miss Jennifer Arnice. She's an author and a guide who helps Black women navigate toxic relationships with their mothers. Okay. She is going to share how she discovered that was something just not right at a young age with the dynamic between her and her toxic mother. Okay. And it's the generational curse of what affects how we mother our daughters and sons. But it mainly is an ilk of a generational curse passed down from mother to daughter. Okay. And I am said motherless daughter who, around the same age as Miss Jennifer, I was about 6 or 7 when I knew somewhat just somewhat quite right with my mother. Children, just like animals, babies, they know. We all know. Those who are woke, we know. You can feel it when somebody doesn't like you, including your mama. Let's go.
Having come to this realization at 7 or 8 and like knowing, being able to put not necessarily a language to it, but being able to recognize that something is wrong at such an early age. How do you think that impacted just your development, like knowing at such an early age that there was issues or challenges with your mom?
I think it created a complex trauma because I love this woman so much. She was on the highest pedestal. I thought it was my fault. But then at the same time, I knew like something's not right. And even my parents divorced when I was 5. And he was really my advocate. Even he was the only person that would openly say, even when I was young, she don't treat you right. Now, these weren't things he probably should have been saying in front of me, but this was an argument they would have. And it would just be like, why? You know, it was so glaring to me, especially when my brother was born. And I was like, wow, she treats us so differently. So my whole life, I was very protective of her and also trying to figure out how to get in her good graces, but then also trying to be myself. It was just a mess. It was just a
Cognitive dissonance. It's a form of Stockholm syndrome. You love your mother, you look up to your mother, you're a child, you begin to internalize, right? Things that you see going on with adults. Sometimes adults insert you into their tug of war of wit, will, whatever. And, a lot of Black mothers have a knack for taking their anger and pain out on their children. And sometimes they don't even realize it until it's too late, if they ever wake up to it. Some of them do it on purpose. Let's go.
conflict and on every level.
Is it just you and your brother?
I actually have, that was my younger brother. I have an older brother.
Okay.
And I always thought that he had it good too. But then when I got older and I was like 40 and we had a conversation and I was like, oh, she fucked you over.
He got his own trauma.
Yeah, because she didn't really raise him. My father raised him. But it never dawned on me that he never came to our house. She never picked him up, things like that. And I was like, oh, okay.
Did you ever get to the root of, and I know we're talking about our own issue,
Yeah,
but we're going to talk about
absolutely.
mother wounds in general. But
Let's do
with
it.
your specific situation, did you ever get to the root of like what was the issue with your mother?
I believe that, well, I know my mother grew up in a very traumatic way. She grew up in the Jim Crow South in agricultural South Carolina. She was one of 12 children. She picked cotton from the time she was 3 or 4 years old. She left home at 16. I know just from hearing stories about my grandfather and different things, like there was a lot of trauma.
That's how the codependency in Black nuclear families was birthed. We were trying to marry for survival, wound up having children with unhealed traumas, growing families, because the bigger your family is back then, the more money you can make and not have to be subversive and caught in servitude coming out of the Jim Crow era. Let's go.
Trauma in their life. And I believe that having me triggered a lot. And I think also when she had me, she probably was already not in a happy relationship with my father. So here you are with the second child. Like, what am I going to do? And I think she had some type of break in that during her being pregnant with me. The pregnancy, the marriage, all those types of things. And I think that I think all of her fear came to the surface when she had me. Because I do remember I was raised in Pentecostal Church of God in Christ. So I do remember her saying when I was younger, like,
Launch Christian.
for her, the Bible was this thing where she could read about how to overcome fear. So that was her. Everything she looked for in the Bible was like how to overcome fear. And I think I triggered all of her fear, all of her powerlessness, all of the ways that she didn't have autonomy or a lack of agency. And
see, that's the key right there with baby boomer mothers like Petty Betty, my mother, and many others, Marble Mouth Marlene, and Wasteland Wander. You having children, adding more burdens, responsibilities, more mouths to feed, more a larger bill, period, a whole nother human to an already dysfunctional dynamic. Okay, and we all know what happens when we get pregnant and we're not prepared, whether we're not married, whether we're in an unhappy marriage or relationship, whether, whatever brings about that traumatic discovery that, oh my goodness, now I have a whole person growing inside of me. Now we got to kick it into high gear and figure out what we're going to do. Right? Now, imagine back then, ABs were not legal. They were unheard of, especially in the Black community. A Black woman doing that to her unborn child, baby. Listen, let's peep a little bit
Who
more.
had a daughter that was born with no fear, who was like, running wild, just free, like a child should be. And I think that was alarming to her. It was dangerous to her. And I think it was like, how dare you, And I don't think she even had a emotional or mental processing for the type of human being that I was. It was completely foreign to her. And I think it may have made her feel inadequate. And I think it may have just scared her tremendously. And then maybe she felt like, how do I raise this person? Along with, you're also triggered at the same time.
You just said so much, because we always talk about, like, on these podcasts and statistics about, single mother households as if it's just this kind of theory. Like, these are not people. And we often, because we dehumanize it and turn it into statistics and numbers, it's like, think about what that single mother is going through. And I am y'all know, y'all be trying to cancel me every day of the week because I'm anti choosing to be a single mother. Okay. I'm anti making this choice that this is what's best for you and your child. Right. Number one, because it's not what's best for you. And number two, because it's not what's best for your child mentally. And so when it comes to children being raised by women who are not fully developed, whether you're single or in a relationship, I don't think that we put enough emphasis on the impact that has on that child. Because if you are not mentally prepared, which are any of us mentally prepared to become mothers? Probably not. But if you have not dealt with your own trauma, having that child can absolutely trigger something in you. Right. And so
trigger something in you. Imagine carrying a whole human in your body 9 months. Your home life sucks. I'm just keeping it real, y'all. Your home life is not balanced. You may have a career, you may not. You might have a real jacked up job, have to take whatever you can get to sustain, make ends meet, try to make them touch. Okay. I raised 3 solo dolo. I married, that was not their father. Okay. And I took care of me and mine. It wasn't no 50-50. It wasn't that. You're supposed to be my companion. Dysfunctional because I was daddy's little girl. I was the militant one. I was the outspoken, the youngest, the baby. I was foreign. I was a fish trying to climb a tree in the eyes of my mother, because from her era, it was little children, especially little Black girls, are to be seen and not heard. We all got our dresses to wear and our crosses to bear. You don't talk about it, it'll go away. Just don't focus on it. Find something else to do. Go sit down, child. Go play. Okay? Let's go. It's going to get good, y'all. Just a little bit more. Watch.
But she could have stayed with my father, and that trauma still would have.
No, but that's what I'm saying. It's not even about the single or married. It's about the development of the woman.
It has nothing to do with married versus single.
It's nothing to do with married versus single, because you could be a teen mom and marry that teen daddy, and you're still married, but you have not fully developed and grown up. So you're growing up with your child.
Absolutely.
So I think that there's no resources, there's no conversation, there's no solutions around helping that child develop. It's just focusing on the relationship status of the mother versus the development of the child.
Right.
And I think that the mother wound, it seems like it can come from a lot of places. So I want to talk about some of the other, I guess, roots. But I heard generational trauma in what you were saying. So your mother was, grew up in very racially traumatic, right? Times.
Yeah. And racially and gender-based trauma.
All of the things that she had to deal with herself that she probably did not deal with herself. And then when she saw you, it's like, okay, I haven't even dealt with my own stuff. Now I'm responsible for you.
Yes.
What are you seeing are like the roots or reasons of like your clients that you're working with? Is it a lot of generational stuff? Is it what happened to them?
Well, it's all generational, because a mother wound is by definition a generational wound. And it's a generational wound. I'm going to tell you the mother wound versus the Black mother wound, or how they go together and what's the difference. A mother wound is a generational wound of a woman brought on by the patriarchy. Meaning, because she's a woman in a society ruled by men, she has lost autonomy. She can't buy a house. She can't go to school. She can't get a driver's license. She can't vote. We're talking about 1800, 1900s. We're talking about us in this country and other countries where because you have a vagina, you're not a real person. So
You hear that? Check out the connection. Let's connect the dots. Miss Nail seems to think that Melody's not taking personal accountability for when people share their displaced, misguided delusions, somehow giving Mel all the power to behold based on their misfortunes. It's like, I'm not responsible for that. I didn't bring that on. You did. Let's go.
how does someone even process that? Do you understand the job you've got to do on a girl's mind to tell her that you don't have any value and your only way to survive is to attach yourself to a man? Literally, that is your only way to survive.
Male identified. Let's go.
And in ways now in modern romance, we still feel that way.
that.
Yeah, we call it something else, but really we still look at, I need to be rescued because genetically I'm not equipped to take care of myself, right? So when you lose that autonomy, that is trauma in and of itself. Someone telling you you're not good enough. Then you have a daughter, and this is the mother wound to the daughter. You have to now tell her she's not good enough, because that's the only
Why?
way.
That's all you know?
Because that's how else are you gonna? You're not saying you're not good enough, but you're saying, oh, you better be pretty or nobody's gonna want you. You better study hard because you're not pretty. You better behave. You better serve, because your survival depends on the approval of others.
Someone else choosing you.
Right. And whether it's a job choosing you, a society choosing you, a friend group choosing you, whatever it is, you've better attach to something, because alone you really are nothing. So you have that, and then you have this mother who doesn't have autonomy over herself, and she has to raise somebody else. So you're telling me I got to tell somebody else what to do when I've never been allowed to tell anybody else what to do. I have to manage all of these things for another person's emotions, their mind. I've never been allowed to do that for myself. That is the wound that gets passed down.
Does that turn into jealousy?
It can turn into jealousy. It doesn't always turn into jealousy, but jealousy is the fear of losing something that you don't have. So if you are someone who feels empowered, and now that you have a child, they have more power than you just by the nature of the year they were born. My mother was born in the 40s. I was born in the 70s. I was born with more freedom than her, right? She may have thought she had a certain level of freedom,
Until you came
until
along.
I came along, like, oh, she can walk down the street. Like literally things that simple she can do. My mother was in her 20s before she could go into a segregated restaurant. Like we think it's a long time ago. We really don't understand
removed.
the impact of misogyny and systematic racism, how it puts a Black woman at the bottom of the totem pole. So a white woman can have a regular mother wound, but she doesn't have to contend with her race also being a deterrent.
Gotcha.
Her race keeps her closer to power. Whereas with a Black woman, her race takes more of her power away. So now you have a little Black girl, and you were unsuccessful in coping with life successfully because all of the cards were taken away from you. And now you're trying to help somebody else be successful, and you love them more than anything, but you know you don't have anything to give them. And then you become being exposed, because the tradition of Black parenting is, I know everything, I'm always right, I'm never to be questioned. But in your mind, you know that you're confused, you know you're lost, you know you're stressed out, you know you have no idea what you're doing. But to show that means that you're a failure as a parent. And that is the shame. And that is the mother wound is directly connected to the tradition of Black parenting, which in a lot of ways is very toxic.
Isn't it also connected to the process of how children were taken from their slave
Absolutely.
parents?
Yes,
so
ma'am.
if your child is seen as valuable in any way, you're gonna be the prize of the litter. They want your baby first. So when massa come around, you want to talk about all the negative things that's wrong with this kid, so that nobody wants them. But we never stopped doing that.
We never. That's what I mean by our Black parenting is rooted in chattel slavery. So you're taught you have no value. Everything can be taken away from you, including your children. So when you have a child and you're still in slavery, you want to love them, but not love them too much, because they can't be weak. They got to be strong.
And you don't want nobody else to love them either.
You don't want nobody else to love them, because that's danger. Because you don't want massa to take them. So you want maybe if she's not this or that, she can stay with me. Maybe I'll get to love her. So you understand the conflict in that. So this child might be brilliant. You better not ever let anybody know that you're smart, right? You better not let anybody know that you got a beautiful smile. When you grow, that's why in my opinion, Black girls are sexualized so early on, because that presents danger. And that was me. By the time I was 12, I was shaped like a Coke bottle. So it's like, I couldn't wear pants. I couldn't wear earrings. When I finally could wear pants, they were like 3 sizes too big. Everything was like, you're the guilty party. If I can control this just for showing up. And this is
Beauty shaming, sexual shaming, Jezebel spirit, the programming. Peep this, y'all, a little bit more, and then we're going to be out.
all she knows. And it's like, I know I've been doing this work a long time. So I don't have that sense of animosity toward my mother anymore. Like, well, why she do that? Why she could do? Because I see her as a person, and I understand the history of Black parenting in America. Well, not only America, but even because I have clients in the Caribbean and Africa, the way colonialization has shaped the view of the African-centered woman in parenting and in life, and how everything has been taken from her. And it is not to make an excuse, but it is a generational trauma. It's a political trauma. It's everything.
So I want to go to your point of I can see her, because we, as evolved women, we know that we can't just look at our mother as our mother. We have to separate the mother from the woman. So I didn't talk to my therapist. For the life of me, I know that I should be separating the mother from the woman. And I know that most of the time, these mamas are doing the best they can.
Right.
So that is my disclaimer. I understand that. But how do you separate your personal feelings? Like, how do you exist in the evolved mindset of this woman did the best that she could, and not settle back into the hurt daughter whose feelings are hurt and you want her to do better and you don't care what happened to her when she was younger? Because my thing, let me tell y'all a little bit of my business. My thing has been, I know that my mother's relationship with her mother was toxic and, all of these things. So in her opinion, as long as she's not doing whatever her mom did, she's doing good enough. In my opinion, your good enough is not good enough, because I now know that I have to do even better for my children. So how come I can recognize that my children deserve better and actually make attempts to do better, and you can still use the excuse of what was done to you? So how do you navigate that space of knowing that you're just a human, but I want you to do better?
So there are 2 answers to this question. And first I'm going to start with, and I hope therapists don't get upset with me, this is the issue I have when therapists have the rationale that your mother was doing her best, you have to see her as a woman. That really, and I had to, me and my therapist had to have a come into Jesus moment, because we were still centering seeing her differently. And if you have it's very difficult, because how we see mother is like Jesus. So even therapists really don't know how to take mother, especially if you have a Black female therapist, off the pedestal and say,
Okay, you only get one mother. That's your mother. You gotta, listen, if I have to do the work to heal my traumas, as a grown woman, then the grown woman who made the choice to conceive and give birth to me should have that same requirement if we're going to try to mend and heal this traumatic curse and break the curse. That's why curse breakers like Melody, like myself, like Queen Sheba, like Pinky the Housewife, Black Titanic, I could go on, True Tea, on down the line, Here for Hot Tea, trending at some point, all these supernova empaths who are curse breakers, huh? That's why we get hit so hard. And you see Melody's face while she was at the table listening to Stormy flexing. She was like, "The hell?" Everybody was like, "Huh?" If we have to do the work and we can't use the excuse of what my mama did to me, how I was traumatized as a child growing up, this is why I act this way, then our elders, our mothers should have to come down off that self-appointed pedestal and stop giving that title so much power when it comes to humanizing and being transparent and healing that generational curse of trauma. Okay. We're going to leave it off right there. Okay. Excuse me for Apollo in the background. Every time I start to do a recording, for some odd reason, this youngest son of mine cannot stay out of my face. So we're going to end it here. One love. Y'all go over here. Grown Woman TV. This is an amazing channel, amazing build. You won't regret it. I try to bring you the good. Okay. One love, everybody.